We're live. Hello. Hello, everybody. Is my camera calming down? It was acting weird there for a second. Let's see if it cooperates now. If it starts acting crazy, we'll fix it. Hello. I'm Amanda. This is my channel, and I'm going to be working on a comic page. This is going to be Age of Night, Chapter 30, page 7. I have the pin. Oh, geez. Okay, camera. What? You know, there's no reason for you to act like this. All right. Give me a second to fix my camera here. I always tell it not to have autofocus on, and then it decides to turn the autofocus on and have a fit. So I don't know why it does that. But anyway. So yes, this is going to be a page from Age of Night. This is chapter 30, page 7. Chapter 29 is finishing up online this week. My patrons already got to see the last page of chapter 30. Oh, or chapter 29. Okay. I think we fixed it. Uh, everyone else will get to see the last page of chapter 29 this week. So this is actually from the next chapter that I'm working on now. This is page 7 of chapter 30. So I have my thumbnail taped off to the side here. You can see I've already laid out my panel borders. I have a perspective grid in my first panel. It should be the only one that needs one. So I've got my thumbnail, so I know what I'm doing. I have my script right next to that so that I can reference it and remember what is happening in each panel, what everybody's expressions are supposed to be, that sort of thing. I need to find my eraser. I have a pencil. That's like, I'm halfway there. Where's my eraser? I think my desk ate it. Okay. I don't know where my eraser is. But you know what? I ordered some stuff from JetPens recently because that's like the only place I can get my Staedtler blue pencil refills. And I got a couple of fun new erasers. So I guess I'll use one of those. This is not sponsored. I spend my own money on JetPens. Nobody gives me free stuff. I haven't tried this one before. The Sumo Grip from Sakura. No harmful phthalates, and no latex. I guess that's all good. And this one smells like apples, supposedly. So I'm gonna try this one. Oh, look at that! It's got like a little apple core. Okay, hold on. I mean, it looks like an apple. It doesn't really smell like it. Doesn't smell like anything. It just smells like it's very cute, but it just smells like eraser. It's got a cute little like apple core thing on it. No, it just smells like rubber. Okay. That's fine. It's still cute, and I'm sure it will work just fine. We're going to erase these little pencil guides between my panels first because they bother me. And now we're going to start roughing in some of the stuff that's happening. Since with Age of Night, I letter on my boards, so I always want to make sure that I have space for my word balloons right away. I always plan them out along with the layout so that I'm planning on where they're going to fall in the flow of the page. I also need to check and remember what does stuff like look like in this scene. I don't fully remember. So we've got a doorway over here. It's like a stairway. I feel like I'm making these folks too tall or not tall enough. I haven't decided yet. If someone is like this height back here, so then they would have to be, yeah, that's going to be a problem. Okay, so my perspective situation is not working for the way I have this laid out right away, so I'm going to have to adjust this a little bit. Or I think my back wall is maybe too close for what I'm trying to do here. That's okay. We're not very far into this. It's better that we just erase everything now and start over rather than overcommitting to being completely messed up. All right. I'm going to start with the figures so I still know my word balloons need to kind of go here. I still think that figure's a little bit too big. We're going to make you a little bit smaller. I want you to fit in that space roughly. So you need a smaller head. Okay, so I've got two figures back here. Now, the issue I was running into before is that if my horizon line is up here, which it is currently, then to make sure your figures remain the same size, roughly, obviously everybody is a different height, but humans are roughly the same size. To keep your humans roughly the same size is that the distance between, if they're below the horizon line like this, if you're kind of like looking down at them, kind of a high horizon line like I have going on here, um, wherever the horizon line intersects the figure, that should be consistent on all of them because that's how perspective works. And so if your figures are completely below the horizon line, then the space between the top of their head and the horizon line needs to be consistent, and that's like proportional. So this figure is like this tall, and it's like about a quarter of their height is the difference between them and the horizon line. They are about 1/4 of their height below the line. Where I had like the door frame and everything set up back here earlier when I started to draw this, that would have made the people itty bitty, or these guys would have had to have been super big toward the foreground. Neither of what I wanted. So yeah, the way I had my perspective set up and the background, it was just not going to work for what I was trying to do. It didn't make sense. So now that I have that, my horizon line's in here. So if I've got people, so if my little person back here, if this is how tall they are, and that's like roughly a quarter, height difference between them and the top and the horizon line. And so if that's my person key, and there's that back wall. And it's a fairly large door, but it wasn't that large. So we're going to bring that down a little bit. And it's like, you can see it's not that big of a change of what I drew the first time, but it's just like, oh yeah, this obviously, like the way I had everything set up before was not going to work. And now we've made it better. Look at that, much better. Obviously, this is still very skeletal, not a lot going on there yet, but now everything is at least in the correct perspective and proportion. Okay, so we've got a couple of figures here. They're a little bit bigger because they're a little bit closer, but they're also kneeling down on the ground. So I'm just kind of trying to make sure that their proportion of all the different bits makes sense to what I have drawn over here. And then over here in the background, we're going to have a couple of people working on some stuff. Ah, ah, dropping my eraser again. We've got yet another figure all the way back here. All right. So we've got our players in their places for that first one. That's the only perspective grid, so hopefully I will not have to struggle quite so much going forward. Okay, so down here we have more speech balloons. So that's just a simple, like, medium shot of one character. All right. Anyway, now that I'm off on less technically demanding panels, how's everybody doing? How was your weekend? This past weekend, I was at Galacticon in Brewer, Maine. It was a very good time, even though I had a cold. I still am getting over having a cold, and it sucks. I was like so tired and on the edge of being completely dead, like that whole day. But it was a good show. It's such a good little one-day show. The folks at Galactic Comics do a great job putting that on. So I had a good time. I'm looking forward to doing it again in the future. All right. These two characters, again, same two characters as before. These same two characters here. It's like they're doing something, standing next to each other, chit-chatting. And then, oh yes, a cat is here too. So Drake is in this scene too, so he gets a little panel of like, "Hello, I am here too." Little cat face of consternation. Okay. So we're about 20 minutes in. We have everything roughed in. So that's a pretty good it's a pretty good start. Glad to have a good start like that. Okay. Um so I'm actually gonna skip working on finalizing the pencils for the first panel for right now because uh, they might be a little bit spoilery for the page that's going to get posted in like a day, like tomorrow, basically. So we're just gonna work on these panels for right now, and we'll come back to this one. And that's your warning. If you aren't caught up, go catch up on the website. Go catch up at ageofnight.com so that when we work on finishing this panel, you won't be like, "Oh my gosh, everything is so spoiled." So this is your warning. You have to go catch up because I'm going to skip this for this week, but next week I'm going to work on this panel and that will be spoilery if you don't catch up on the website. So I'm gonna give you that, giving you that warning. We're gonna come back to that. So we'll move on down here and we'll start finishing this up, but I'm gonna sharpen my pencil first. Yeah, so Galactic was a very good time. I got to hang out with some of my friends and uh, sell copies of. Oh, I don't know where my eraser pencil went. I'll just have to use this one for now. I need to sharpen it because it's like an actual pencil. Um, got to sell copies of Volume 4, got to sell copies of the Prophets of Doom Ashcan. I was actually sitting next to Joe Schmalke that I'm doing Prophets of Doom with. We had a good time. First time ever that somebody actually recognized what one of my prints was. One specific print. Okay, so I have this one print so I sell my comics at conventions and art fairs and stuff. I sell my comics, but I also sell prints of my artwork, right? Because not everybody likes comics, and some people just kind of want cool art to look at or whatever. And they also do a good job of like stopping people and getting them to like stop and look and see what my stuff is all about. And a lot of my artwork gives you a pretty good idea of like if you like this artwork, you'll probably like my comics too. But along with that, so I have a handful of prints that are like really good sellers that I sell a lot of all the time. I am constantly selling out of like this just very simple drawing of a raven that I did on this stream, I think at one point. Constantly selling out of that one. Constantly selling out of the portrait I did of my cat several years ago because it's a picture of him. That was Odin, my baby Odin. Some of you might remember. Um, I did a portrait of him like as Odin with his ravens on either side of him. And I sell out of that one like crazy. People love that print. It's just very funny to me because it's just like I just did a goofy picture of my cat, but people love it. But then there are prints that I almost never sell. I keep them in the rotation for sale because I like them or because they are good at getting people's attention, right? Sorry, I just had to focus on getting this expression right for a second. Anyway, so there's pieces that I like and they are good at getting people's attention, and I almost never sell them, but they get people to stop and maybe they ask me a question and we start having a conversation, or maybe it just gets them to stop and they start looking at my other artwork. And so there's a lot of value in that, even if I never actually sell that print. And one of those prints that I just have to, like, get people's attention, but almost never sell is this piece that I did, um, for a couple years back for the In the Footsteps of Hercules campaign, like, RPG campaign, where that's the one where it was like, okay, it's an RPG adventure, like system agnostic RPG adventure where you're a pilgrim who's going on this pilgrimage where you go through all of the trials of Hercules, the 12 trials of Hercules. And so, it's all very heavily based on all the mythology around those different trials and everything. But also, the writer of that, my friend Mike Varhola, is also like a big art history nerd like I am. And so he had the idea of like including a lot of art history Easter eggs in the book. Oh, arts. Hey, Alan Barr. I'm having a very nerdy discussion about arts right now. So Mike was like, "Oh, I want us to put a bunch of these little like art history Easter eggs and homages and stuff in there." And some of it is very straightforward. Like we have there's like a bronze statue of Hercules that we like just have like have you encounter somewhere, and then like the like seven wonders of the world version of the big statue of Zeus that like disappeared at some point. Um that's another one that it's just like these are just like pieces that either do exist or have existed at some point, and we just included them as like illustrations in like in a setting of like, oh, and you this is a thing that you encounter. And then some of them we were a little bit more obscure. And one of the ones where we decided to be a little bit more obscure was with the illustration for the apples of the Hesperides. And both Mike and I were one of our favorite painters is Rene Magritte. And so because it's the apples of the Hesperides, Mike was like, I think it's really cool if we did like a Magritte's Son of Man homage with this one. And so Magritte's Son of Man, if even if you don't recognize the title, you've seen it before. It's the surrealist piece of a guy in a suit with a bowler hat and he has a green apple just covering his face. You've seen it. Um, And he's like, "Well, since this is like, this is a thing with apples already, and we both really like Magritte, let's have it be that the daughters of the Hesperides have like their faces obscured by apples, just like Magritte's Son of Man." And I thought that was pretty cool. And so I did an illustration of that, of just this kind of eerie illustration of these like three ladies in these like autumnal kind of peplos, and they're in an apple orchard and they're tending the orchard. So they all have like different pruning tools and they're all facing the viewer, but all of each of their faces is obscured by an apple that matches the color peplos they're wearing. Um, it's a really cool image and I think it's really neat. And in the background, you can see like one of the trees that's further back is the one that's being guarded by the serpent and has like the glowing golden apples. Um, and the thing is like because it's a little bit, like, creepy and interesting looking. I get a lot of comments. People always stop and they're always like, "What is this?" And I have to kind of quickly try to explain to them that, "Oh, it was an illustration for an RPG, and, um, this is one of the encounters, but we also wanted it to be an homage to Rene Magritte's Son of Man, the famous painting, blah, blah, blah." So I basically try to run through that whole spiel I just gave, but, like, as quick as possible and as abridged as possible. Um, And usually people are just like, "Huh, that's interesting." And no one ever buys this piece. But it's fine because then usually they'll start like looking at my other prints and then maybe they buy one of those or they'll pick up like some of my like one of my comics. Whatever, it's fine. But I love this piece. Okay. For the first time ever, I think, back at the beginning of April in WickedCon, I sold one and they didn't even particularly care what the story was, they just thought it was a cool image, and I was like, "Wow, somebody actually bought this." That's a first. But then this past weekend, I had another first, which was even more incredible than someone just buying it because they thought it looked cool, which was that somebody stopped and was looking at it, and I could see the gears turning in their head. And then they're like, this piece, this is like it's a myth. It's the apples of the Hess something, right? And I'm like, "Oh my god, yes, it's the apples of the Hesperides." You literally no one has ever gotten that before. So, yeah, first time ever someone actually knew what it was an image of. And then I still explained, like, the whole deal with why we did the image the way we did, but I was like, "I'm really, really impressed, like, no one ever knows that myth, no one ever has like, knows that story and recognizes it." And he's like, "Yeah, well, I was really into Greek mythology as a kid, but then also, like, I'm also a big Percy Jackson fan, and I've read all the books, like, 5 times," and I'm like, "Alright, hey, that works." That's also my kids are also huge Percy Jackson fans, and my oldest has also read the books, like, I don't even know how many times. But, yeah, but then, of course, the kicker is he did not buy the print. Which, alright, whatever, it's fine. That's fine. I'm just impressed. For the first time ever, somebody knew what it was by looking at it. Without me telling them, somebody knew what it was supposed to be of. Um, is that really ideal? Should I be like, nobody knows what this thing that I drew is? That's probably not the best. I mean, it's a not one of the more popular Greek myth stories for your general audiences, so I guess there's that. Okay, I drew her neck was a little bit too high at first. It just needs to be a little bit lower. So yeah, there we go. That was a fun thing what had never happened before that I thought was interesting. Okay, hold still while I sharpen my pencil here. Don't need to go super overboard with the background here, but there's a building over here behind Wen. She's not just floating in a void. What is this? I don't remember what the roof is supposed to be like on this building. What is this? It's just a flat top. Okay. And it's a little bit tall. She probably wouldn't be like right there. Most of that's going to get covered by a word balloon, so I'm not going to go too crazy. I just want like vague suggestion of yes, there's a building back here. This is not just the void. All right. Next panel. These two. Where are we at? 35 minutes. Okay. Which is also just a reminder that I do these streams for about an hour, and then that's it, because at the end of an hour, I should get up and stretch, you should get up and stretch. I'm gonna need to, like, cough a whole bunch and blow my nose because 'cause I'm still kind of gross and sick, and it'll be good to stop talking. "Hey," someone's saying. "Glad you're able to join me." Had a bad cold, yeah, yeah. I I've had a bad cold since, like, Friday, and I'm starting to feel a little bit more like a human being today, but I'm still very, like, snotty and coughing a whole bunch and quite tired. Bugs. This isn't helping. Go away. Seriously? Get out of here. Alright. Those 2 have a little bit more definition to them. I don't think I had the flu because I never had, like, a fever. And usually with a flu, you get a fever. I just have had many days of being snotty and, like, I had a sore throat early on and, like, kinda achiness the first day, and I've been very tired, mostly because I can barely breathe because I was so snotty, and then it's gotten in my chest, and I'm, like, coughing a whole bunch, and it's gross. It's gross, and it's not a good time. Yeah, and I think, like, the fact that also, like, I have allergies and everything is in bloom is not helping, like, I think I would probably be a little bit miserable anyway, even if I wasn't sick because of so that's, not great, but probably contributing to the general misery right now. Blame Walmart for not having any sanitizer wipes. I mean, it's entirely possible. I'm glad that no one else in my family seems to have come down with whatever kind of crud I had, but that just leads me to believe that rather than being something that they dragged home from school, I probably picked it up at work. So, little strappy doos to actually make the armor theoretically work in some way. All right. Oh, we're having a look. We're having a look. Something's going on. Oh, also, what's coming up? What's coming up is that this weekend, so Friday for part of Bangor's First Friday Art Walk is the opening reception for the Celebration of Pride Art Show at the Rock and Art Shop in downtown Bangor. And I have a piece there, so I will be there on Friday. There's a lot of really cool pieces in this show. I'm looking forward to getting to meet all the other artists because it's a group show. I'm not the only one there by any means. It's a group show with a lot of really cool stuff in it, and I'm so excited to meet everybody else that's in the show. I know quite a few of them personally already, but it'd be cool to meet some of the people I don't know yet and hear what inspired people and see all their cool work. Should be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. And if you're in the Bangor area or stopping by anytime in the next like couple of months, really, the show is going to be up at the Rock and Art Shop for a while in the Soanes Gallery, so you should definitely check it out. If you can make it for the opening reception, that's really cool. If you can't and you just happen to come by sometime soon and get a chance to stop in, you should still come and see it. Ah, what is this? Like drop my pencil on the page, make a mess. Goodness gracious. All right, that's two panels nice and penciled. We've got like about 10 minutes left, so I'm going to start doing the YouTube things while I work on this next panel here. Going to remind everyone, I'm Amanda Call. This is my YouTube channel. I do these art streams just about every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Sometimes I have to change the time a little bit, or I might not be able to make it because life. And that's why a good way to make sure that you know when I'm going live is to subscribe. Tell YouTube, yes, please notify me about things involving this channel. And that way, when I do go live, you'll get the little notification. And if I have to postpone or cancel or whatever, I always make a like community post and you'll get a notification about that too. So usually I am working on comics, sometimes illustrations. Currently, the page I am working on is for my webcomic Age of Night. You can read all of Age of Night online for free at ageofnight.com. That's AGEOFNIGHT.com. And there's a new comic page uploading every week right now. We are just wrapping up chapter 29. The final page of chapter 29 is going to post publicly this week. And then it'll be on to chapter 30. And the reason why I say post publicly is because my patrons already got to see the last page of chapter 29, because anyone who supports me on Patreon gets all their comic pages a week early. So they already saw the last page of chapter 29, and we'll get to move on to chapter 30 before everybody else, which is pretty fun. And if you would like to support me and become one of these amazing patrons, you can do so at patreon.com/ageofnight. I already mentioned my next upcoming event is going to be the Celebration of Pride opening reception this Friday, June 6th at the Rock and Art Shop in downtown. Or that starts at I think it's either 4 to 6 or 5 to 6. I don't remember. You can find it on an art shop's website. I think we can get that a little bit more refined before time is up. What do you think? I think I can. Yeah, and then also if you wanna follow me on various social medias, I am active to varying degrees on mostly Instagram and Blue Sky these days. And you can find me pretty much wherever. I might be doing things as either Age of Night or Amanda Call Art. Why am I having such a hard time getting this to not look incredibly goofy? What are we doing here? Also, this eraser is not fantastic. I feel like I'm pushing the blue around more than I'm actually, like, picking it up. Fella, you're looking a little too intense there, buddy. Got some very intense eyes going on there. Let's soften that up a little bit. beard. There we go. Fill in his very handsome beard. All right. We got a lot more face definition going on here now. That's much better. Okay. All right. So this week we started with a page that was just some panel borders. We have the whole page roughed in. This first panel, we're going to come back and work on more next week because I don't want to make any spoilers for this week's. Get out of here. Get. This week's update. But we have 3 panels. Our whole center tier here is pretty much all nice and finished pencils, which is good. So this is a very strong start for this, and hopefully we should be able to finish doing the pencils next week. Thanks everybody for hanging out with me. I will see you all next time. Bye.